Welcome back to Epic Home Theater Tours. I'm your host, Hatoraid Cowboy, and this video is going to be a little bit different. We're not technically in a home theater right now. We do have one that we're going to show you downstairs, but we've got these massive JTR speakers.
RTJ.
RTJ. RTJ. The JTR is going to be downstairs. But we've got these massive RTJ speakers, and I've got the homeowners here. I've got Scott and Kat. And Kat, first of all, it's nice to meet you finally. I've seen you on YouTube videos and on the podcast. Thank you for inviting me into your lovely home and getting to talk to you guys about your two-channel setup. It's amazing. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about you guys. We're going to talk about how this came together and your pretty much yearly event that you guys do now with the Bass Brings Us Together. So why don't you tell the viewers a little bit maybe about how you guys met? Who wants to go first?
Well, there's this creep now.
Right.
You can tell the story. You want me to tell?
You go ahead.
Well, it's not as romantic as one might hope, but so Kat was working at a local bar restaurant that was really close to my house.
And he had a drinking problem.
At that time, unfortunately, I did. But it was super close to my house, so at the end of my day, because I lived alone, just me and my cats, which, that's cool. You got a cat too, George,
I do have a
so
cat.
You feel me.
I feel you.
So instead of me just going home at the end of the day, being by myself with my kitty cats, I'd always make my last stop at the bar, grab something to eat, maybe grab a drink, and then go home, go back to work the next day. So then one day, this beautiful bartender started working there, and she's waitressing and bartending, and shot my shot. And now 13 years later, we've gone through a few beautiful homes that she has designed and laid out. We've rehabbed 2 houses now together.
Nice.
And I don't know, it certainly was a refreshing time meeting her. She deals with my craziness, which is it is what it is. I live with a bunch of girls. We have a bunch of girls that I love dearly, but there's a lot of clothes and a lot of pink crap around this house. But no, Kat's been super cool. I'm glad that that we're doing this journey together. When I first met her, she didn't understand boys hang out and listen to music together, and like you guys go into your basements together and turn the lights down like you guys are on big dates or something. And she slowly got to hang out with everybody in the community and started meeting some of my friends from the past in the beginning. And now she's like, one of the guys there was like, "Hey Kat, how you doing?" And she goes to other people's houses with, and we're practically hosting about every month now. That wasn't our intention, but it's very small events except for the one huge yearly event, and Kat's been a huge help with that for the setup, because it's literally weeks in preparation, getting the house ready, getting food ready, doing schedules and having people come in, people flying in from out of town. And she's accommodating very much so, because we fill the house up with people. Youth Man stay here, Jeff Permanian stayed here, other guys have stayed here. And so it's just been kind of cool that it went from just me kind of by myself to now she's incorporated.
You used to host events too at your...
Oh, I always used to host events.
Smaller, like just close friends.
I built a huge, ridiculous system in my house when I was a single guy, because I wanted everybody to come back and party at my place, and I had the property to do it. And I was hanging out with those people for different reasons. I just didn't want the party to stop, so I built that system. But now it's more of like a community that we've built. And I think what blows us both away the most is just now that we're doing this together, people are bringing their wives here. Like we had a couple drive from like Tennessee up to Chicago.
Nice.
Him and his wife come to check stuff out. We've had people fly from other countries so it's strange, because to us, because these are our things and we see them every day, and somebody's like, "Oh, I want to fly out and get a hotel and hang out with you guys for the day." And we just say, we know we're kind of cool, but we're not like that cool. Yeah. But when people come in and they tell us their story and be like, "Look, where I live, there is none of this. I'll spend $300 on a flight there and back. I'll rent a little Nissan for a day for $40 and drive down, and I'll get a room for $50 down the street," because they're like, for $400 to enjoy this with other people, there's a diehard like following base now. We've entertained between 400 and 500. We got 20 people coming over tomorrow to hang out with you.
That's true.
And it's funny, because me and Jordan have been talking a lot behind the scenes, and I told Jordan, there's 20 people coming over tomorrow night. They're excited to meet you. And he's like, "To meet me?" But it's strange, because it's not huge egotistical. It's just
Right.
it's very just strange to be
Well, you
like,
guys are on other people's like TVs and radios and however they're listening to you guys, so that they connect with you and then
and I,
they just
and
want to meet you.
and people have been like, oh, me and my wife are going to come. Is Kat going to be around? Just because I don't know. I think they're trying to soften their wife up. Like, look, there's another girl that gets into this, and then maybe, but it's certainly gone from us just enjoying music and movies to enjoying the community. So, every day we're getting hit up like, hey, when's the next get together? When are you guys hosting? Thanks so much for coming out. We've had people bring us gifts, because you were just talking to that the other day. She's like, I just brought you a huge box of stuff. And like, thanks so much for like letting me come over.
Yeah.
But no, I give Kat props all the time. If you guys follow our channel or our Facebook groups or anything, she's definitely one of the best things between, her and my daughter, our youngest. Well, you guys that know a story that follow our channel personally. So Kat came with 2 pre-built children that I love to death, and I've always well, they were pre-built. They were built before I met you, so they were pre-built. They weren't pre-built for you; they were pre-built for me. But I love them dearly, and then Kat, I was able to have a child of my own as well with Kat. So it's all girls, love them all, and just all these experiences, not just the home life, the audio life. And she's super understanding. A lot of guys, you'd be like, you tell your wife or your fiance or girlfriend, hey, so for 4 days, I'm not going to be home. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, have fun, be safe, be careful. So, I left out yesterday morning at like 8. We got back at midnight. Today, after we're done filming this, we won't be back till midnight. Tomorrow, we won't get done till midnight. So to just have somebody that isn't like, oh no, you can't go play with your friends or something. So
I would like to just say, to any ladies watching this, if you can't beat them, join them.
And men, that means don't give up the good fight.
Okay, so how long did it take you to start appreciating, the hobby and getting into audio? Because as far as I understand, this is actually your setup, right?
Yes. He's we say that, but in reality, I feel like.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Is these wouldn't be here if she.
Yeah, it was my decision.
Yeah, it was her decision. These are here because of her. That is 100% concrete truth.
Yeah.
These got brought in here for demo units because at that point Jeff and I just became friends, and Tony, that's now part of JTR, was really good friends with Jeff, and was like, hey, if I send these out to Scott's house, he got guys coming over, can you go set them up so all the guys can check them out? And that was the plan. Well, we got derailed because Tony came in, set them up, left for the night. I mean, they weren't ours at that point, but me and Kat sat and listened to a bunch of music that night, and she really enjoyed them. And she's the one that approached me, and she said, hey, I really like these. These are awesome. Like, I would use these all the time. So it wasn't me like, oh, honey, do you care if I buy these speakers? Because I already had my setup downstairs, so it didn't really. It's cool that we have them, but they would not be here without you. That's 100% the truth.
So what do you like most about having this set up in here?
So I've always been like a lover of big like furniture focal pieces. Even I had my best friend come through the house. She was like, I cannot believe you let him put these in here. And I was like, really? I'm a huge fan of like matte black. I love oversized furnishings. The texture of them, I really like the gritty texture of them. So I mean, that kind of, I was encouraging them to be in the room. I said, as long as we could fix this ugly wall, and that kind of is what I don't know.
We laid in bed that night, and she's like, so if you buy these speakers, she's like, I already got it in my head. We're going to rip down that whole wall, because this all used to be a river rock wall, like floor to ceiling.
Terrible.
And we do all these projects ourselves. So we plastic the floor.
The next day, I'm pretty sure this guy was in
I
here
was
with
down
like a
here,
crowbar, like
ripped the whole wall down.
Motivation.
yeah.
Re-insulated
He's like,
it.
Okay.
We plastered it. She painted it. A buddy of ours came in and redid the fireplace. But like the mantle and that's all her idea. We custom cut all the wood in the garage and built all that. And it all looks good. We built our own theater too. So there's mistakes along the way, but we did it ourselves. And basically it's just because if you spend money on one thing, you have to save it. Nobody has I mean, very few people have unlimited money supply. So that we were like, we're going to do our own thing and put our own little spin on this, and that's.
And, you know, of course, what helped it also is just how amazing they sound. Of course, that was the selling point, and then, you know.
Well, it's funny because Kat's been around decent audio quality, hanging out with me for the last 13 years. But when we had these in here, and she's a big fan of like Dave Matthews, Metallica, Britney Spears, all that kind of stuff. So that night, and I get into that music too. We've gone to multiple concerts together. I mean, 30...
I don't think everything sounds good on these. I don't think there's one thing you could play that they didn't. You know, every genre of music, it pulls its own.
It was funny because there was a churning point in this where Kat would literally message me. She'd be in her car, she'd Shazam a song, send it to me. Hey, add this to my playlist at home. I can't wait to hear it on the RTJs. Yeah. I'm like, that is a win for me. like, okay, man, I can't wait to see you at the house. Let's fire it up. And what's funny too is because Kat raises the girls, she's home a lot. Depending on what time I get home from work, I'll pull in the driveway, and I just hear a boom, boom, boom. I'm like, dude, what is this girl doing? And I come in and she's vacuuming or she's wiping something down or putting groceries away. I'm like, dude, I haven't, at this house, I haven't had the cops call me.
Yeah, I like it loud. Not as loud as you, but I like it loud.
I listen to it loud for short periods of time just to get that, like, a little adrenaline rush. But she is a loud listener in general. So,
anywhere in the car.
Yeah, she's not a man.
I'll be pulling or down the street, and he's like, I can hear you coming down the street.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's nice that there's no fighting with it. Like, there's no like, oh, you shouldn't spend money on that. You should
there was once upon a time.
Well, there was when we first met.
I didn't really get. I'm like.
Well, me and Kat came from two. Speaking of how we got together, we came from two different places. At a point in time, Kat was a single mother. She worked all the time, and she used all her money to raise her girls. Where I was a single guy working all the time,
wasting all of the money.
And I was wasting all the money because I mean, a cat can only eat so much food that I had. So I was like, well, look at all this extra money I got. So when I met her and she's like, you spend how much on a speaker and you spend how much on that? So, I mean, anybody that's watching this video or watches your stuff or my stuff or Michael Stevens stuff know that these speakers are pretty pricey. But these, for us, is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of purchase. I mean, literally, these speakers will hang around till termites eat them and they fall to the ground. Because, I mean, I don't think I could personally find anything better. We've checked out a lot of gear together. I've been to a lot of shows. But it's just like, like, I don't know, almost like a midlife crisis speaker, but not that way. But you know how like guys like, I'm gonna buy a Corvette or something. Well, this was just like, it's cool. Me and Kat are both set on like looks, how like you look at something like, wow, that's an impression. And we don't get it like when you first walked in, and you've seen these before, but seeing them in a room like this, you're like, wow, dude. You're like, these things are floor to ceiling, and you're like, they're taller than me. But we still get that. Like we walk in and just like, wow, that's just cool. And they sound. I mean.
The only thing I don't think that I was too keen on is the idea of when you were like, I got to put these acoustic panels.
Acoustics?
No, it's acoustic. It's acoustic. And then, as I've gone on and like heard, we've watched a ton of videos together. I've, I've learned that between the set room treatments, the acoustic panels, and calibration, that those are
you see this, guys?
I'm learning.
This
learning.
This can happen. Like, this is not a paid actor for this video. This is real life.
I even say acoustic better.
Much better than I do. Thank you. You remind me every night. So now the room, I mean, we don't have a huge echo in here, but we are open to a kitchen area. But this is like an entertainment. We have friends over. We have other people over. And we just have music playing all the time. So it's entertainment for the whole downstairs of our house. And Kat, now the way I wanted to acoustically treat the room, because Kat is set on looks, is I couldn't do it exactly how I wanted, but there was some compromise in there. So big area rug, all fabric couch, heavy curtains over the windows, some GIK panels, or GIK. You're a GIK guy. I don't know. One of us is saying it wrong.
I say GIK, but I think it's pronounced
Oh,
GIK.
no, last night Rich was saying GIK. That's where I got GIK from. So anyway, so I'll just say GIK too. So, and I ordered for floor-to-ceiling GIK panels, and they sent me 2 panels, but one was too big, and I tried to force it, and I actually broke the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so sound wise, it sounds very, very good in here. I think we could make it a little bit better with a little bit different acoustical treatment, but it sounds amazing to us. I don't think that we're going to change anything.
I used to get down with a sound bar, so
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm like, yeah, like it just sounds great.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what actual speakers you have, because you've got some couple subs. What's the model number on this, and power, all that stuff.
So through RTJ, these are a full complete stack of speakers that they would sell. I went this route because this is what was sent to the house for a demo. So when they sent it out for a demo they didn't send it out to me. They sent it out to Tony, and then they got shipped here. Tony set it up. So this is the best offering RTJ has, with two 18-inch subs, the middle modules, which is the 410s, and then another RTJ 18 at top. So subs at the floor, subs at the top, also with modal frequencies and stuff like that, especially in the bass region, because you're hitting the ceiling, you're hitting the floor, and especially during calibration and tuning, it gives you a lot more control over what you could do. Because with how these speakers are stacked, in a traditional setup, you would put the subs best in your room, but how these work together, because they're all fully, working together like a full true three-way. Actually, I don't even know, and this may be incorrect, but at some point it's almost like a four-way speaker, because this middle section, the 410, is actually a three-way speaker on its own, because it has the four 10-inch drivers in each cabinet, and then it's got the high quality two-way compression driver in the middle through the horn, which actually takes care of the mid-range and the high frequencies. So without the subs, it's a full complete three-way system. So I don't know if adding the subs would be a technical four-way, but regardless, because I've seen people get just the middle sections, and I've seen people just get two subs, but I was like, if we're going to make the financial commitment, let's just get the one that we want and just have it. And then it was a buy once, cry once kind of thing. I didn't want us to go through that process and be like, man, I wish we would have just... See, this is what would have sucked, is if he brought these out and then be like, oh, why don't you just take two of the subs away? No, we're not doing that around here. So basically it's four RTJ 18s and two 410s. Now, when you order these speakers, they do come with two amplifiers, two channel subwoofer amplifiers that are 2400 watt RMS by 2. So it comes at 2400 watts times 4 to power all the bass drivers, all the 18s. You do have to get a separate power amplifier for the mids and highs. So at that time, unfortunately, Tommy O'Brien, which was becoming a good friend of mine, he passed away, but we are still using one of his amplifiers in this room, a Cherry amplifier, which at that time I was going to have custom mono blocks built so we could push a lot more power through these, because even Jordan has heard this system cranked up some. But the funny thing is we're not even nowhere near the capabilities, and that's for two reasons. So I let Jordan listen to it at a very elevated level, but if I went any higher, we tripped the 20 amp breaker for this room. So the system gets much louder if I run an extension cord and tie into another circuit. And also the Cherry amplifier we currently have is only 400 watt RMS per channel into each mid-range and tweeter section, and they're rated at 2000 watts RMS. So we could literally quadruple the power going through these, get more bass going.
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think so either.
So for me, the upgrade path is there, that if I want to do something with this, and it isn't a huge upgrading cost, because the speakers are here, the subwoofer amps are here, I would just need more electrical coming into this room, and that would bump it up right away, and then possibly more power for the mids and highs. But to be honest, like I told Jordan, because we just had a spirited session before this, I said, I don't ever listen to it this loud. We're doing this because you're here, you flew up here, you want to experience it. But until people come from out of town, once in a while I'll really crank it up loud, but most of the time it's at a nice level. So
Okay, so to close out, let's talk a little bit about your event, The Bass Brings Us Together. So, Kat, let me get your impressions first. What was your first impressions when Scott said, hey, I want to start having people to come over and, 20, 30, 50 people to come over to listen to?
I don't remember, but I'm sure it was like, I got to clean this whole house.
Before and after.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's really nice, like, because when it is over, it takes, it stays clean for a little bit before we got to like have another group of people over, and then you got to like just get in there and like clean really good. I don't know. Like, I'm more of like like a social introvert, I guess you would say, right? Like I'm so I think probably at first, because I don't remember exactly, but I was probably like, oh my God, like it's a lot of people.
You did super good though. You were greeting people. You were
Yeah.
bringing them their insurance
Yeah, and then as it
forms.
went on, I've gotten to know a lot of the regular guys that kind of like, come and hang out for these just to kind of entertain the newbies. Not this one, but the
Not the
newcomers.
family, but
That's funny.
Yeah, the newcomers. So I've gotten, to know them and chat with them. And so now I'm like super comfortable with it. And I think it's brought me out a little bit more, just, because it's like, well, why would these people want to come just to listen to our speakers? But, the farther we go into it, I'm like, okay, I get it. And, everybody's kind of like-minded. So it brings you together. Like really,
The bass does.
yeah, it brings you together. And so, yeah.
and then what would you say?
Well, you're the first face anybody sees during a big event. No, literally, Kat's the greeter.
Nice.
She's got the name tag.
I got to write out the name tags, sign the waivers, or have the signers with, yeah.
So, and now you mentioned before that there's some couples that come. How does that experiencing that with other couples and not just a bunch of dudes everywhere? How does that transition for you when somebody's wife or girlfriend comes over and you guys get to do you share that with them or?
I feel I don't, because I'm new. I think I'm new to them, because if they haven't been here before, maybe it's so different with women. It really honestly is. Like it's just so different. So you want to make sure that they're comfortable, because women can be like, do I belong here? There's all these dudes, so I just try to make people feel welcome and invited. And if I feel like they kind of want some space, I give them some space. I don't know, it's just just putting a lot of different people together. But I've met some really cool ladies. I learned some things like about plants and
Nice.
from some of the ladies that that have been here. So we just kind of try to find like a common, because obviously the hobby's the men's, and then
Right.
so I try to like find some commonalities with them, and then we
Well, it's
then we
cool.
go from there.
It was cool though because like even last night, Jordan, like on our way to somebody's house, I got an order that a lady was placing for our merch for her husband for
Wow, that's
Christmas.
cool.
So I was like, that's cool that even if you don't, not a diehard fan, that there are some women out there. They're like, you know what? Hey, I support whatever he's, and and it goes vice versa. Anything Kat's done, because Kat refinishes fireplaces and she paints houses. Like she does custom. I mean, everybody that comes in our house, they're like, oh, your house is beautiful. I helped with everything, but it was by her. Hey, I want it to look like this, and this needs to look like that.
I'm like, I got another project.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man.
Hey, you got to deal with it, because
Yeah.
Yep.
And just to save some, because you brought up the waivers, and we'll just put this on film now, and people are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So people are like, why would you listen to speakers that loud? People don't. So just so everybody knows, so we get people here from all ages, heights, weights, races. It doesn't matter. Everybody gets into this hobby for different reasons. Like, hey, we like it loud, or we like audiophile stuff, or hey, I'm just a orchestra classical guy. So we try to we try to like cater to everybody, but there are people here that are for more extreme experiences. So that's why we give waivers. It's just, you read this like, hey, at certain points during the day, you may be, experiencing high SPL levels that, are bad for your hearing or for your health. There's ear protection available. Just ask, or it's laying all over the place, grab a pack. And that's just, if somebody flies here and says, hey, I get into high impact, high extreme demos, and we don't give them that, then I really feel like we're doing a disservice. And then there's other guys that literally sit down and say, hey, can you throw on some, I don't know, some Barry Manilow or something for me? Because, I listen to that. It reminds me of my childhood. And we play that it's literally bringing so many different kinds of people together. Like, we've literally had 17-year-old kids in here like, wow, I get into car audio, I've never experienced this.
crazy.
And they're here with their dad or their grandpa. And it's just like, wow, that's cool that we're all from different backgrounds and different, careers, and we're all just here having a great time. And that was a transition for Kat and I outside of the hobby, as I was like, because I've been in the hobby my whole life. Like, some of my very first
that's
memories.
probably where it kind of like made more sense to me, and then I started getting involved with it. Before that, we might have had like, I'm like, because I remember maybe 4 or 5 subs ago,
4 or 5 subs.
a screen, one screen,
Time relevant to subs.
and one screen ago. I'm just trying to think how many things you said. Okay, I'm happy, it's good, and I'm like hallelujah, and then it just kept
Morphing into
yeah.
something else.
You know, my very first memories since I was a kid, and it's crazy, and it, you know, it's I guess kind of cliche because we're on video talking about audio, but the truth is like me being 5 years old and with my dad going into a pawn shop or going to a Circuit City or something, and him getting home theater setups and buying and selling and Dolby Digital, and like just growing up through all that. So there's a lot of nostalgia in the hobby for me. It's just reaching out to all these other people, or them coming out to us, or me, you know, driving out to South Carolina to check out JTR's new shop, or me driving out to Power Sound Audio to check out their shop and speak. Just, it's so much like just bringing everybody. I think people think like, oh, you know, well, you just want to show off your big speakers. It really, it isn't. I mean, you're coming here because you want to experience that. I want to experience hanging out with you. That's
Yeah.
And then after the last one, I mean, everybody's really great that comes through, but you know, the next day we came home, we went out somewhere, we came home, we had a card in our door from people, the couple
nice.
that did that long drive. I think they went and visited some family, and then they, you know, made an effort to stop back by and thank us, and you know, that was a nice surprise to come home to that.
And we had guys from India come out here last year. He reached out to me and says, you know, like, hey, I'm interested in these kind of speakers. You can't experience them anywhere over here. He's like, I have to get clearance to leave my country, and this was a huge process for me. You know, you're not like leading people on with like, we can fly out there and check this out. I was like, no. So literally it took him 60 days.
Man.
That's bananas.
He
That's
flew
insane.
here from India. Man, we had an absolute blast. And I shared a little short where he's like, you know, he's like, if you listen closely, because he's so excited, he's like, I can't feel my body. and that's stuff I'll talk about the rest of my life, you know, and that's just,
and he will
and
too.
he will too.
I flew here all the way from India to go check out this.
So we're just here for a good time. You know, we don't. I just want to make this clear because people like, you know, like, well, you guys must be trying to like make some money or something somewhere. It isn't. We enjoy it. Like, we're not selling anything. We're selling the experience, I guess, but that experience isn't costing you anything, because like we don't charge for our events or anything like that. But it's just, you know, that's what we have to offer. We have the experience. I don't, you know, I don't sell receivers or speakers or anything like that. I don't even review them. You know, we just share our experiences with whatever we run to in life. So that's kind of like what we've been dealing with. So if you guys that have attended our shows, and we appreciate you guys. I just want you guys to know that.
All right. Well, last question. Kat, why would you recommend RTJ to someone if they were asking you, hey, why do you like these speakers? What do you like about them?
I'm so bad on the spot. I don't know. They just sound amazing. And the last time I've answered this, I feel like I answered this question. I got a lot of jokes. I got a lot of jokes about me. But I mean, just simply, they sound amazing. Like, I don't think there's, you know, much, I don't want to say like in that thing that grabs my attention, but these definitely grab my attention. Just, like he said, it's like you have somebody singing to you. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I experienced when I was sitting in the sweet spot, and I kept telling, Scott, I was like, the center imaging is like nothing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
crisp.
dead center, and I'm looking at the speakers and I know they're, towed in, but I'm hearing everything in the center. So it's very impressive, and I haven't experienced that in this type of, setup 2-channel.
Yeah, they sound great. And if you want, to be blown away, then you crank it up and you're blown away. Or you could just have yourself a nice little personal concert where it's like they're just whispering in your ear. So
to add real quick to that, what's cool is because I'm like a lot of you guys, is I'm always looking for different music so I'll click through it, some of it isn't good or doesn't, it's whatever, but I'll come across one and then I'll feel Kat's presence come behind me. And then after it stops, she's like, wow, that sounded really good. So it's just cool that now she even understands, like, stuff can sound so good if it's, and we preach this to everybody, well, I do, is first of all, no matter what speaker you guys buy or that you have, its setup is certainly key. So, you know, if you get
So you
yourself...
got to have your acoustic treatments
Yes.
and your calibration.
Yeah, if you know, just do yourself a good service. I mean, if you got, you know, a speaker that you love, just, you know, take the time to... Because Jordan's like, dude, this is... I was like, well... Cat will attest to this. I'm the guy with tape on the floor, 1 millimeter here, 1 millimeter there. Me and Mark seating up here. You mean you remember that? You're like, dude, how many times are you gonna move this speaker?
They were moving.
I'd come down in the middle of the night at like 1 a.m. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I know it has to be towed in just a little bit more.
Hilarious.
So
Ridiculous.
Well, awesome, guys. Once again, thank you guys for letting me into your home. We still got another video to check out, but thank you for, you know, sitting down with me and talking about these amazing RTJ speakers, the setup, you know, talked a little bit about you guys. I think it's always unique because this is a predominantly male-driven, you know, hobby. And so, you know, whenever I see, you know, couples and they're both into it and you have your setup, I just think that that's really unique, and I like to share that with people because most people that are, you know, are married, have a girlfriend, have a significant other, they think, oh, well, you know, I don't get that. I don't get to experience that. But to know that it is possible, and maybe they're not into it right now, but you never know. They could get into it.
Definitely
keep
it's
chipping
possible.
away.
It's possible. We used to have arguments. I'd be like, all I need is this soundbar. All I need is my phone. You know, and I always have loved music, and I'm just like, as long as you can hear it. And even like the movies, we've talked about this before. I'm like, we don't need this big old screen. Just put the movie on the TV. And, you know, I've learned.
We're teaching her.
Yeah, actually learned a lot. I'm really
Yeah.
impressed. He was testing me yesterday and asking a
Yeah.
bunch of questions.
What are these ported or sealed?
These are sealed
Downstairs?
or ported.
Yeah. And then what else were we asking? Oh, you knew what kind of speakers they were. And you knew what size drivers they were too.
Yeah.
What size are the subwoofers?
20. No. You're throwing me off here on the spot. I'm so terrible at stuff on the spot. I'm terrible at it.
But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment down in the comment section. Let us know what you think about these RTJ speaker setup. You guys will probably see them again on their podcast. You know, what you want to send a shout out to your channel? Living It with Scott.
Oh yeah, Living It with Scott and Cat podcast, and then you know we have Facebook group. Base brings us together. Pretty much, it's all rough draft kind of stuff. Like, you know, if you watch Jordan stuff or Youthman stuff, a few of these guys, you know, they're very polished. These guys put a ton of time. I mean, me and Jordan have been talking. I mean, he's got all kinds of gear, all
Yeah.
kinds of money tied up into this.
And it's like on a phone.
So on ours,
Yeah, right.
you know, ours we got a cheap webcam, 4K. You know, but we're just sharing our experiences, our day-to-day life, or an event that we held. So, like, you know, if you guys get into that kind of rougher draft kind of stuff, you know, certainly, you know, we appreciate just, it's cool going live and just chatting with people. You know, that's what it's all about. So, and then, you know, Base brings us together, which is ours now. We license and trademark that because somebody tried to steal it from me. So you know, we are an official Base brings us together business, which is kind of cool. She's the co-owner. Congratulations. So.
All right, yeah. Well, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to their channel. Subscribe to mine if you're not already. And we got some awesome more home theaters and more home theater content to share with you guys. And we'll see you in the next video.
And gentlemen, buy your ladies some RTJs.
Yes.